Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome, everyone, to vpod.ai. Today, we're diving deep into something called a home lab.
Hmm.
Now, you might have heard this term floating around, maybe seen some, well, pretty impressive setups online.
Yeah, those big racks sometimes.
Exactly, and maybe thought, okay, that's way too complex for me, some kind of tech wizardry.
Right.
But really, at its heart, a home lab is, well, it's just a space at home, somewhere you can get hands-on with computers, servers, maybe some networking gear.
Precisely. Think
Mm,
of it like your own personal tech sandbox.
yeah,
It's for playing, for learning. And the really key thing, I think, right from the start, is just how flexible this idea is.
flexible. Oh,
Yeah. There's no, strict checklist of things you have to have or rules you need to follow. It's very open.
right. So you could be talking about, I don't know, a single little Raspberry Pi humming away quietly.
Totally. Doing one specific job.
Or, the other end of the scale, a whole room full of powerful machines, blinking lights, the works.
Definitely seen those too.
And both ends of that spectrum, they still count as a home lab. What you do with it, that seems to be the main thing. It's down to your imagination, really.
And maybe your budget and time, let's be honest.
Oh, yes, those two.
But that's so important for anyone listening who might feel a bit intimidated.
Yeah.
We're not saying there's a right or wrong way. Our mission today, really, is just to clarify what a home lab is
Okay.
and hopefully show you how actually it can be pretty accessible for anyone who's even a little bit curious about, getting their hands dirty with tech at home.
Okay, so let's get right into it then. What exactly is a home lab? We've sort of danced around it, but let's dig in.
Sure. So fundamentally, it's a dedicated space, usually in your home, where you experiment. Computers, servers, networking bits and pieces.
Your personal tech playground, you said?
Exactly that. Where you can learn, tinker, break things safely.
Oh, breaking things is part of it.
Sometimes, yeah.
You're right.
That's how you learn, right? Without taking down the main family internet connection, hopefully.
Good point. And I like that saying I came across. A home lab is what you make it.
Yes, that sums it up perfectly. It's not some off-the-shelf product.
It's personal.
Completely personal. The variety is just, well, huge. You might have a setup that fills a whole room, like we said.
Or
Or something super compact. Maybe just a couple of mini PCs on a shelf. Uses hardly any power.
right, so power consumption can vary wildly too.
Oh, definitely. From a few watts for, say, a Pi to, well, potentially quite a bit more if you've got older, powerful servers running 204/7.
And the number of devices, dozens in a server closet, or just one or two.
Both are valid. It
Yeah.
really boils down to what you want to achieve. What are your goals?
And yeah, the budget and time constraints we mentioned.
Exactly. So typically, what does it involve? Usually one or more computers, right?
Okay.
Running different services inside your home network.
Okay.
Now, that could be super simple, like maybe just a single Raspberry Pi running Pi-hole.
Ah, the ad blocker. I've heard of that.
Yeah, network-wide ad blocking. A really practical, popular starting point for a lot of people. You set it up, it does something useful immediately.
Makes sense. Or the other extreme.
Well, you could have, say, a cluster of computers, multiple machines working together.
For redundancy.
Exactly. So if one machine fails, the service, maybe your media server or something, stays online. High availability, it's called.
Okay.
And that might involve some more complex networking gear too, managed switches, that sort of thing. Quite a spectrum.
It really is. We heard a story, didn't we, about how these things grow over time.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. Someone started pretty simply, just one server, mostly for storing files, running a couple of basic apps.
Okay. A NAS, basically. Maybe a bit more.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But then over time, their interests grew. They added more servers, a Raspberry Pi for maybe some home automation tasks,
Mm-hmm.
got into networking more, so added managed switches for better control, even a patch panel to keep the cables tidy.
Wow, so it really evolved.
Organically, yeah,
Yeah.
based on what they wanted to learn or do next.
And that really drives home the point, doesn't it? Your first home lab doesn't need to be this finished masterpiece.
Absolutely not.
It's okay, probably normal, actually, to start small. Let it grow as you figure things out.
Definitely. Beginners shouldn't look at those amazing setups online and think, oh, I need that to start. That's often years of work and learning.
Don't get discouraged by the Instagram perfect home labs.
Exactly. It's a journey, like you said, not a race.
Yeah.
Start where you are, with what you've got, or what you can get easily. Let it evolve.
Now, thinking about why people build these, I understand the roots are kind of in professional IT, learning job skills.
Yeah, that was definitely a big driver initially in the, let's say, earlier days of home labbing.
Right.
The main motivation for many was getting practical experience,
Mm-hmm.
networking skills, systems administration skills, Stuff you could put on a resume.
Hands-on practice for the real world.
Precisely. Playing with the kind of tech used in actual data centers or corporate networks, but, in your basement.
But it sounds like things have broadened out now. It's not just for aspiring sysadmins.
Oh, absolutely. Well, sure, some people still use their home labs specifically for professional development.
Mm-hmm.
The definition is much looser now.
Okay.
Like we keep saying, it's what you make it. It doesn't have to be this formal training ground. It can just be fun.
Yeah.
A hobby.
And you've got direct experience with that, right? Yours is more curiosity-driven.
It is, yeah. My own home lab, it exists purely because I find this stuff fascinating.
Just interesting.
Yeah. I enjoy trying out different technologies, setting up services just to see how they tick, figuring out how things connect. It's a hobby, plain and simple. My day job isn't directly in network engineering or anything.
That's really good to hear, actually, because it lowers the barrier, doesn't it?
I hope so.
So if someone listening has maybe a computer they use as a media server, streaming movies around the house, or maybe they set up, I don't know, a simple backup system for their photos on an old PC, does that technically count? Are they home labbers without knowing it?
I'd say absolutely yes. That's the core message here. If you've got computers at home, doing stuff, running services you need, or just want to explore,
You're in the club.
you're basically home labbing already.
Yeah.
In its most fundamental form. There's no official membership card or criteria you have to meet.
Okay, this is all making it sound much more achievable. But what about the common worries? That it's, super complicated and costs a bomb.
Ah, yes, the cost and complexity myth. That's a big one we need to tackle.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't have to be either of those things. Starting out can actually be surprisingly simple and very budget-friendly.
How budget-friendly are we talking?
Well, you can potentially kick things off with just a few dollars, honestly. Browsing online marketplaces, looking for used gear.
So forget shiny new boxes for now. What kind of used stuff should people look for?
Oh, things like old desktop computers that still work fine. Companies often get rid of older servers pretty cheap. Or even those little mini PCs you see everywhere now. Some older models can be really inexpensive.
Great starting points.
Definitely. They're perfect for getting your feet wet.
And we saw that brilliant example, didn't we? Someone using an old laptop.
Oh, yeah, the one with the broken screen. That was genius.
Tell us about that again.
Well, they basically just took the broken screen off, hooked the laptop base up to an external monitor and keyboard, and used it to run Docker containers.
Wow. So giving new life to e-waste, essentially.
Exactly. It's pure resourcefulness. And it perfectly shows you don't need the latest, greatest kit to start exploring and learning.
So the basic steps are pretty simple then.
Very simple. Step 1, get a computer. Doesn't need to be fancy or new.
Okay.
Step 2, start loading up services you want to run or learn about.
Oh.
That's basically it to get started.
And the operating system, does it have to be some weird server OS?
Not at all. You've got tons of options. There are popular server-focused ones, sure, like Ubuntu server, maybe Unraid or TrueNAS if you're into storage.
Yeah.
Proxmox for virtualization. But you could just as easily start with Windows, if that's what you know. The OS choice doesn't fundamentally change whether it's a home lab or not.
Yeah.
It's more about what you want to do and what you're comfortable with.
That's really good to know. So flexibility again.
Always.
Now, I can imagine someone new, maybe they check out online communities like the Home Lab subreddit.
Home lab,
Yeah.
great place, lots of knowledge.
You see some serious setups there. Racks of gear, complex diagrams. It looks expensive and, frankly, intimidating.
It certainly can look that way, yeah. And those communities are fantastic. But you have to remember,
What?
what you're often seeing is the result of years of someone tinkering, upgrading, adding things. It's their passion project, evolved over time. It's not usually someone's starting point.
Right. Not day one.
Definitely not day one.
Right.
And having the absolute latest, fastest, most expensive tech, it's just not a requirement at all.
And you practice what you preach there, right? You mentioned some of your own gear is well loved.
Huh. Yeah, well loved is a good way to put it.
Sure.
My main servers, they're about 13 years old now, I think.
13 years. Still going.
Still doing the job. My main network switch, a big 48-port one that's maybe 11 years old.
Okay.
Even my Raspberry Pi, the 3B model, that's got to be nearly 9 years old. Still running background tasks perfectly fine.
That really proves the point, doesn't it? You don't need bleeding edge.
Not even close. These aren't top of the line by today's standards, but they work for what I need in my home lab.
So people can genuinely start with stuff they already have, maybe collecting dust.
Absolutely.
Or pick up something older and cheaper online.
For sure. The age, the condition, as long as it basically works isn't the barrier some people think it is.
So the core message, just to really hammer it home.
Anyone can. Home Lab, seriously. It's about your curiosity, your desire to tinker and learn.
Yeah.
Not about the price tag on your hardware.
Okay, so bringing this all together then, a home lab, it's this really flexible, very personal space you create at home for exploring technology, learning new things. It can be tiny, it can be huge, simple, complex.
Whatever works for you.
And it's definitely not just for the tech pros with deep pockets. Anyone can get started, often with stuff they might already own.
Exactly right. It's all about that spirit of exploration and discovery, but, right there in your own house.
That's a fantastic way to look at it. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Think about the tech you already have around you. Your old laptop, that desktop in the corner, maybe even your router. Could any of that be the start? The first step on your own little journey of exploration.
Mm-hmm.
What services, what projects out there kind of spark your curiosity enough that you might want to try setting them up yourself at home? Worth thinking about. This episode is sponsored by Stonefly, your trusted solution provider and advisor in enterprise storage, backup disaster recovery, hyper-converged VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox cluster, AI servers, public and private cloud. Check out stonefly.com for their products.